Well, good day, my seventh grade friends. I know you just watched a video about the internet, but I want to know, what does upload mean? Some people say they're going to upload something. Maybe they took a picture of their grandmother and they're going to upload the picture to their Google Drive, and they say upload. What does that even mean? Now let's try to find out. Well, here's your computer, and it's got a keyboard and a mouse hooked up to your computer. Your computer's hooked up to your monitor. And when you click something on your mouse, or if you press a key on the keyboard, a signal is sent into the computer, and it goes straight to the CPU. The CPU is the central processing unit. It's sort of like the heart of your computer because it pumps information all around. Now, a lot of people say it's sort of like the brains, but it's not really like the brains. It pumps information from one component to another. So when the CPU recognizes that a signal just came in from the mouse or the keyboard, he's going to send that to the RAM. So if you press A, B, C on the keyboard, those signals are stored in RAM chips. Those bits, right? They're bits which form bytes. There's ones and zeros. Those are all stored in these electrical switches in the RAM. It takes electricity to hold the switch closed. It takes electricity to keep the switch open. When you type A, B, C, you want it to show up on the monitor. So the RAM will send the information to the CPU, which will send the information to the video card, and the video card will send those bits up to the monitor, and it'll display ABC for you. When you're all done typing your letter or whatever it is, you probably want to save it, because if you turn your computer off, we know everything in RAM is going to be lost. So we're going to take this stuff from RAM and we're going to transfer it over to the hard drive. Now there's a word for that. When you take things from the RAM and you transfer them to the hard drive, there's a word for that. Do you know what that word is? That's called save. We're going to save our work. We're transferring it from the electrical switches of RAM to the magnetic spots of the hard drive. So now that things are stored in RAM, maybe you want to try to send them off to your Google Drive. So the CPU will send a message to your network interface card. Here at school, our computers have network interface cards, and they have a little plug in the back of your computer that a cable plugs into. And that cable looks like this, usually blue, but it doesn't have to be blue. It doesn't matter what color it is. It could be yellow, it could be gray, it could be purple. It doesn't matter. They're all the same. It has a special little connector on the end. The connector sort of looks like this. And if you look closely, you'll see that there's little colored wires inside this cable. There's actually 8 little wires inside an Ethernet cable. These are called Ethernet cables. You probably don't have an Ethernet cable at your house, but you might. The Ethernet cable, if you had one at your house, is going to connect to your router modem. Usually a router and a modem are separate things, but nowadays a router and a modem are both one big thing. So this Ethernet cable might hook up to your router modem, or you might just use Wi-Fi. Instead of using a cable, just let like radio signals being sent. It's sort of like your computer's a radio station, and it can send out radio waves to your router modem. That way you don't need to have wires. In your house, you probably have one of these things, and it's connected through cables. Cables, this is a coaxial cable. A coaxial cable end looks something like this, and this thing hooks into your wall at your house. So one end hooks up to the router modem, the other one hooks up to your wall. Then from your wall it goes out to the telephone lines or the cable lines. It could go out to a satellite dish. Somehow it goes out of your house. And I like to think of it this way. It goes up to the top of the telephone lines. It goes up. You're sending information from your computer in your house, and the information is going to go up onto your telephone lines. Upload. We're taking things from our house and sending them up to the telephone lines. Well, where does that information go on the telephone lines? It probably goes to a data center someplace. Here's a data center. Looks like this is a Google data center. It's got big giant buildings. I wonder where those buildings are. Here's the Google data centers. The nearest one to us is in Oregon. If you were in Sacramento or even in Elk Grove and you try to send something up to YouTube, it's going to go up through the telephone lines and it's going to go all the way to Oregon. That's going to be the closest data center that Google has to us. What's in a data center? What does it look like? Inside the data center are all these server computers. Here's a computer, here's a computer, here's a computer, here's a computer, and all of these little skinny things are computers, and they're server computers. They're not hooked up to a monitor. You could plug a monitor in and see what this computer's doing, but most of the time there's no monitor. It's just a computer that has a hard drive in it, and it's going to store your data for you. So what does it mean to upload? When somebody uploads something, what does that mean? It means it goes from your computer up onto the telephone or the power lines, and it's going to go out to a data center someplace. Maybe not a Google data center, but some sort of a data center. Upload, just think of it as going up to the telephone lines. Well, what does download mean? Download means the exact opposite. It's going from the Google centers, or whatever centers they might be, from the telephone lines down to your computer. Download. Well, that's about all there is to it.